You'll be my forever friend. This love will never end. No, nothing can come between us. No, never with you.
I think that ultimately refusing to trust God is pride. And that can come up in many different forms in our life. It could be just refusing to trust the process that our life is going through. And when we refuse to, I guess the if you can go or walk away from this podcast or this episode thinking of anything else would be, or thinking of one thing, I should say, it would be, if indeed pride is refusing to trust God, then what is the alternative? You know, like, what do you put in place of that? And I think in the beginning, when I laid out the background, the context for where I got the quote from, which was that Kanye interview when he said, "I am the God of my own life," that he had to pull from his own strength, because when he felt like he was calling on God, he didn't answer, you know? And I think it was such a great statement, and it ties into some of the examples that I gave tonight, because that's what it looks like sometimes when we're in relationships and we expect that person to serve us in a certain way, and we've calculated what our love language is and what our quote unquote attachment styles is, and we have all these things, right, to identify the best way that someone can love us. And it can come in the same way of what Kanye said. It's like, did God not answer you, or did he just not answer you in the way that you thought he should have? You know what I mean? Like, that's a great question to ask yourself about your whatever relationship that you're in, whether it's a familiar relationship or friendship or of course marriage. You know, does my partner not love me? Or if they're not doing a certain thing that I have crafted so meticulously, you know, or maybe even haphazardly I've crafted that this is the best way they should love me. Maybe there are other things going on, and maybe there are other strengths that need to be pulled out of you, that it has to come about in a different way. But if we don't remove our own idols that we create in our own mind, you know, I think it's great that we're in this age of mindfulness and talking about people who, you know, mental illness and depression and things like that. But there's another side to it where pride is like, it is growing leaps and bounds. You know, it's like the wheats and the tares growing together. I mean, like the positive and the good growing together, because people can get in such a state that they feel like they are assessing themselves so much and crafting all of these things, you know, like, this is the attachment style. Do you know what your attachment style is? This is your love language. Do you know what your love language is? And you're building all of these things up, that you can build it and etch it, you know, sketch it and engrave it so much into your heart and your soul that you can literally block and not hear when God is answering a prayer to you, because it did not come in the form that you have already resurrected in your own life and in your own mind. So I definitely think that's how pride shows up in relationships. It's not having room and possibly missing many times when God is answering your prayer through maybe something that your partner is doing. And of course, that's going to require, which is the most important part, is you staying connected. You're staying connected to your personal and your own relationship with God, to be able to even identify that, right? But that's a beautiful system. That's where we get to not fall into the pitfalls, and that's one way that both people in the relationship can stay in tune with each other. Without the connection, we can't run a whole, you know, line and just thinking of, you know, Wi-Fi and connectivity and things like that. So both individuals need to have an open heart posture to do that. And even though you research and you analyze and you think about yourself, and maybe you've come to certain conclusions about whatever your love language is and whatever your attachment style is, and just always leave room to be able to relinquish the attachment that you have to whatever form of how love is being expressed to you, or the opportunities to receive or embrace love or have love grow you. You want to be a person, or it's great to be a person, I should say. I don't want to say you want to be a person, but I would say that it's advantageous to a person when they are a person who is open to saying, you know what, God, however you want to present to yourself, however you want to present yourself to me today, I will receive it. Help me to open my eyes to it. Help me to, let the walls down and the sacred walls and the guards in my heart down so that I can be able to see the things that you are trying to share with me or tell me, and let me be able to see that through the actions or in the actions that my partner, extends to me, even if it's not necessarily in the most, I guess, in the way that I think it is best fit. And I think as we honor those, whatever you deem to be little things or little moments of progress, or maybe if you think of it as a little opportunity, then it makes room for greater opportunities. Doesn't mean that that person's never going to meet that quote unquote highest love language of yours. But if you're open to, from the micro to the macro versions of that, then you're not going to miss anything. You're not going to miss anything. And I think that's a way that we can drop the pride, where we think that we know what's best. You can definitely assess yourself. Definitely, you have to peer into your heart and your soul to know who you are, and to, grow and get to certain places. And as you do that, you always leave flexible room for God to shift, and grow your understanding of what the steps that you've taken in the proper direction to be the best version of yourself.